full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Tudo bem? Como estás? How are you today? Do let me know in the chat if you will. I was just thinking Coach Turner must have had a good day yesterday. I couldn't see any comments, but that's my mistake, not yours, Coach Turner. How you doing? Thank you very much, despite a cracking day out at Boysdale's. That's a top-notch eatery, isn't it, in the West End, I believe. Bom dia a todos. Feliz carta, you say? Yes, it's hump day already. Great day yesterday. Boys and booze at Boysdale's in Belgravia. Belgravia, no less. Some of you may recall that my cousin is a pilot, as are most of his mates. So the afternoon was a bit of a flying love-in. Mind you, well, you fly around the track, don't you? Mind you, I was sat next to a guy who used to fly with the RAF display team, the ones in the red planes. Is that the Red Arrows? Legend. Amazing. We'll come back to your God Squad tip of the day in just a moment. Good morning to you, Joao Ernesto. Great job last night. John was giving his counsel and personal experience about how to deal with taxes as a US expat here in Portugal. So we'll have a recording of that. It was informal and very informative. So looking forward to sharing that with you. Of a special use to anybody from the United States who has to file that side of the water as well as this. And I believe the United States are in good company with Eritrea and North Korea as countries where you still have to file your taxes having left the country and taken up a new residency like you may have done here in Portugal. Good morning to you, Jackie. Thank you for your company on the Munson and the Geezer show. How was that for you yesterday? We were both pretty ranty, I thought. Bon dia, alegria, Gumpers from T-Duck as well. Good morning to you. Happy mile hopping. And bon dia as well, Ian, and our very own Quacky T-Duck. Oh, isn't that nice? Oh, Quacky T-Duck. Astrid will be popping in, as will Paul Rees. In just a few moments. We've got an advent calendar window to open this morning, the 11th of December. So window 11 will be opened, and they've all been very funny, I think, so far. If you've got a Christmas meme you'd like to send us for the G-Meme-P advent calendar for 2024, do so on 913-590-303, or any other correspondence that you want to send for my attention, or just say hi in the chat if you will. This evening, after language class, we're off to an overnight visit to the Christmas lights of Vigo, Spain. Very nice, just popping across the border there. That sounds fantastic, John. Have a great time. And Antonio F., the great Antonio F. I can't call him Antonio F. Grande because that just makes him sound big physically, which I think he is as well. He's known as Big Tony, isn't he? But I think maybe that's a little bit insulting here in Portugal. I'll have to find out what the great legend of the Gumper community, Antonio F., is in Portuguese, and I'll get back to you on that, Antonio. Bom dia a todos, you say to everybody, and Mike and Karen are here this morning as well. Jackie, I thought the show was great last night, Carl. Made all the more special by T-Duck's memes. Life in general is made better by T-Duck's memes. Let's bring Paul on, and then when Astrid arrives, she can jump on as well and tell us what's going on over at EPHQ. He's live. He's our on-the-spot reporter in Central Portugal. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. We go now to Central Portugal, where, it's all kicking off there, Paul.
Well, what can I say?
Calm down, everybody. It's Central Portugal. That's a vision of peace. That's lovely. How are you today?
I'm very good. Yeah, it's a crisp, chill morning. Everyone's crowded into the cafe, I think, this morning.
Yeah, very good. Have you been there yet yourself this morning?
No, not yet. No, not yet. But I'm up by the Igreja Matriz, which is a sunny spot to kick off the Munson show.
Oh, it's fantastic. Look at it. It's casting a long shadow there, Paul, across the cobblestones. Oh, I just want to go into a kind of that BBC style. Paul Rees is is striding across the courtyard of the church, resplendent in the central Portuguese sunshine. Sounds like a state funeral. No, I'll stop doing that.
News at 10. Pedroga Pequeno is where I am, actually. I should have said that, really.
Yes, Paul Rees reporting from. Yes. Okay. So tell us a bit more about this delightful place.
Oh, Pequeno, it's the little sister to Pedroga Grande over the river, but it's in a different municipality and different region. It's the sort of western end of Castelo Branco region, in the Tab municipality. It was, I think it got its foral in 1450, and it was a Roman settlement, and it's because it's right on the river.
What is a foral, Paul? Sorry to interrupt, but what is that?
I think in the UK we call it a charter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think it's upgrades it to probably can hold a market and that sort of stuff.
And people can be flogged in the middle of the town square.
Yeah, so we've still got the flogging post out.
Good. Glad to hear it. Hear it. It sends a very clear message to newcomers, doesn't it?
Every town should have one.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
It's pretty essential. What are they called? Pillories, aren't they?
And is this hence the verb to pillory somebody? Well, I never. The things we learn with Paul Rees of a morning. Is Pequeno? Sorry, what are we calling it? Pedrego Pequeno. Is that the place where they have the Sunday market, the delightful Sunday market?
Yeah, there's a farmers market out the back of the.
Yes, I've been to that. Really enjoyed that.
That's good, actually. Yeah. If you want all sorts of improbable goods like ill-fitting hats or sturdy leather boots.
Yes, I got myself a mattock there, I think.
Well, what can I say?
Mattocks. Yes.
Cool. So I'm walking down now to the old market square.
Yeah.
Which is.
I'm going to put you on full screen so we can see this.
Okay. Yeah. This is the old market square. You got the half of it. That half you're looking at was demolished by the local powerful family and rebuilt in the early 1900s.
Wow.
So the shop over there is, I think, 1914, and this big building here with the green doors, 1910, something like that. This has just been bought actually by this one here, the green one. It's been bought by an American couple.
Beautiful.
Rise above my head, who will move here in a couple of years when it's finished being done up. So it's just had the new windows put in. So it's being managed by a Dutch couple, friends of theirs.
I see. Right. Okay.
A complete rebuild. And then, what else we got? We got the old photographic shop.
No.
It's great with the Agfa sign.
Oh, brilliant!
This has been bought by George, and George is going to turn the ground floor into a cafe.
Oh, lovely!
And do a logimento locale above. He lives in a village nearby.
Fantastic.
So, what else we got? Oh, here's the that's the pillory post thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Been moved twice. It's been destroyed a couple of times or broken up.
It. Really, by miscreants who thought, I know, if I destroy it, I can't be tied to it anymore.
Well, I think, as they say, alcohol had a large part to play.
No.
Yeah. Right. So so this is the little old square, half old, half new.
Very nice.
And the Vidigal family have ruled this town since old man Vidigal made a packet in Brazil.
Right.
And came back and built the big house down on the main road. And then his son followed him to Brazil, built another even bigger house just to outdo his dad. And that's that's been empty unused for years, but it's just been sold to Portuguese from Cascais. That's a big mansion. That's sort of 600-700 grand's worth.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And behind is one of our properties, Casa Adelina.
Casa Adelina. There we go.
Adelina Petrosina was the town nurse for about 40 years. So everybody knows her. She's buried up in the cemetery.
Yeah.
The hospital, I'll walk up to it in a second.
That's wonderful. Well, we'll give you a chance to do that because we'll have a chat with Astrid while you're making your way up there. And we're going to have a look inside the house, aren't we, today?
Just quickly, it's full of sturdy workmen, but that's good.
Okay. Well, some people like that sort of thing. Jackie might like.
What can I say?
Okay, so shall I have a chat with Astrid now while you make your way to the next location?
Yeah, I'll do
Right.
that, and I'll walk up. I'll be a minute or two. Yeah,
That's
okay.
great and lovely to see. I mean, it's almost like in real time we're seeing life come back to a Portuguese village that might have been a little bit deserted and barren previously.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when I came here 4 years ago, this was dead.
Yeah.
The Adelina's house hadn't been lived in for. She died in 2002. Nobody had set foot in it. It was like
Wow.
a time capsule, but it was, it had leaks. It had the whole inside's been removed. So
Yes.
actually,
So
we could go in.
definitely happening, isn't it? Something is definitely occurring right now.
We could go in next if you.
Yeah, let's go and have a quick look. Astrid will be with you in a couple of minutes. Let's have I'm sure Astrid won't mind a little tour around Casa Adelina, because this should be on Kippertree at some point soon.
This it could well be, yeah. So it starts.
Again.
Yeah, the outside's been completely redone. It's got this Station of the Cross #2, which I think is Jesus picking up the cross. Or I'm not very good on religious iconography, but
you would walk around the village and have a lot of contemplative walk and see the various friezes and murals around the village, would you?
Yeah, you can. There's 1, 2, and 3 in the old town. Then it goes up the hill to the chapel right up on top of the hill next to Montana Hotel.
Beautiful.
So you've got more modern ones. I mean, the tile work on this one is contemporary, but the actual space was put in 1865.
Yeah.
I know that because it says so, but I wasn't here, obviously.
No, he came a little bit after that. And you weren't tempted to knock it out and put a window in?
No, absolutely not.
Right, I'm joking, everybody. No one should ever do that. It was a joke. Right. Whoops. Okay.
So,
we're going in.
So this just had its
oh, lovely flooring.
I don't know how best to see this. Yeah, it's just had its wooden floors put in, top and bottom.
Very nice.
And a stairway and some basic lighting. It's doing another. At the end of the week, this will look presentable for sale.
Well, we get the picture, Paul. It's coming together beautifully, isn't it? Look at are those stone mullion doorways there?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
wow.
Indeed. So that's
beautiful.
So those will be stripped and sealed. So yeah, it's a basic 3-bedroom en-suite house. But the main thing's the view. If you can see the view back over the square.
Wonderful.
And the distant hills, and it's got a roof terrace.
Love it. Well, we've got some other pictures that we can show. That roof terrace is very special. We've got some stills of that we'll share with you.
Yeah, it is all good stuff.
We're going up. That's sturdy work.
All
right.
I must show you this view.
Wonderful.
So that's your gin and tonic view.
Isn't it just cafetiere or gin and tonic view? You know how to describe a property there.
Yeah,
Paul.
no, it's good.
And that's where you can grill your fish as well, isn't it? That's going to be an outside kitchen as well.
There is indeed, outside kitchen, time for space for your wine fridge, etc., etc. So
Wonderful.
this by the end of the week, we'll photograph professionally.
Yes.
They got to a Friday evening, but everything says there were 7 people working here yesterday.
Really, it's coming together though.
Including our contracts manager, Senor Gelo. So everything is.
The Iceman. Is that? He's got a perfect name for a contracts manager, isn't he? Senor Gelo.
He's an affable chap, but I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him.
No, that's how to play it, isn't it? That's how to play it.
So there's just a snapshot.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. We will come back to you then, when you're in the other side of town. Is that where you're heading now? Yeah,
I'm going to wander up to to an older part. Right.
Lovely. We'll have a bit more of a chat with you then, because I think people will want to know how you managed to get a property delivered on time. So you might have a bit of advice for people in that regard as well, which is clearly what's happening there. Cheers, Paul, for the time being. All right, there he goes. Thank you, Paul. Right, let's bring Astrid. Well, that was delightful, wasn't it? And I think enjoyed there by Jackie. Certainly loves the piece of the Portuguese villages. Oh, where have I gone? Oh, there we go. I'm just putting the banner back on to let you know what's happening today. And part of that banner, the who is assembling today, Heather to come, and Astrid now. And we'll come back to Paul in just a moment. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Hi, Carl. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting, but I thought you might quite like that. That's got to be a front cover property for Kippertree, isn't it? One of these days.
Yeah, that was good, because also just before I came on this call, I was having a look at the plans for the renovation of our ruin on our quinta in Castelo de Vid. So it's all it's very exciting.
Hold on a minute. I thought you'd done that. Have you got more to do over there? It's lovely, your place over there.
We did the small house, but we haven't done the big house yet.
Oh,
so
okay.
we are doing the plans for the renovation for the big house. So it's about time. We've had the property now for over 10 years, and it's because they were all ruined, so they're really getting to a stage now where it needs some definite TLC. All the roof, the tile roof's all collapsed, and the walls are starting to get all the water seeping in.
You're going to save it just in time. Yeah, this is what Paul was talking about with Casa Adelina. There, you've got to get to it before something, or it goes past a certain point of no return, I suppose. And you're going to do that by the sound of it.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. So we're just sort of putting all the pricing together now, or the quote for it. And then we need to present it to the bank and hopefully be able to get the construction loan to it.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I want to get on to what's going on at Expats Portugal tomorrow.
Yes.
Are we taking our pooches on a luxury flight, the Pooch and Pussy special across the Atlantic? Yeah. Okay. So what's happening? Who are we talking to tomorrow at 7:30?
It's Adam from K9 Jet. So we've had him with it was maybe a year ago about private charter options for bringing your pet to if you're moving to Portugal. So rather than worrying about the pet being in cargo with on a normal airplane, being by him or herself, or the trauma that might be inflicted onto your pet.
Yes.
This is where you can actually buy a seat on a private charter. So you are sharing the flight with other cat and dog owners, and you and your pooch get to go on a private jet right next to each other and follow your
journey, isn't it? What an adventure. It looks like there's a nurse there as well, but I think she actually might be a dog owner. That blue tunic threw me for a moment. Could have been Nurse Adelina on the luxury flight there. Excellent. And then the dream team thereafter.
Yes.
9 o'clock.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Well, don't want to keep Paul waiting too long because he's freezing in the central Portuguese country. You and I are sat in warm houses, and we've got him waiting outside in the cold. But suffice to say, we're gonna have a great time in Battaglia. I shall see you there.
Yes. Okay. Great.
And sorry, I think you wanted to add just
one. I just wanted to say that for those people that do come along, so tomorrow night and the next Thursday are the last events for the year. Ooh. Then we're going to have a well-deserved holiday, and we won't be back until January. So definitely come aboard and say hi.
And a week tomorrow is the Christmas party with Philomena, so that'll be a lot of fun as well, won't it? With one of Jerry's legendary quizzes as well. Okay, looking forward to that. And I'll see you tomorrow evening for the transatlantic Pooch and Pussy special. All right, cheers. Have a great day, Astrid. Ciao, ciao. All right, bye. Right, we'll swap them over. And we'll bring Paul back onto the screen in a new location. The magic of television.
Yeah, so still in Pedrógão Pequeno, but I'm at the other end of the village.
How big is it then? How many people live there, would you say?
Oh, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000, something like that.
Oh, really? It's as big as that? Right, okay.
Well, maybe I'm hoping some numbers like that.
Right.
Because there's the municipality, the freguesia, and the actual town.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm behind me is a 1703 chapel. Just to give relatively modern in terms of the town.
Yes.
It's nicely preserved. It's got a tourist sign that says all about it. Opposite is the shame of the old hospital.
Oh.
Which has been allowed. There's dispute. There's whenever anything needed to be done to it, it's down to the freguesia. Whenever anything positive happens, it's owned by the church. So it's one of those.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. How big is this building then? How many people would have been able to, roughly speaking? I mean, it was a village infirmary, was it?
Yeah, I'd say it's a very good description. like there was maybe a dozen beds. I mean,
Okay. Cottage hospital.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when places aren't looked after. It's completely stone built.
Yeah.
And the weather gets in when the roof goes, etc., etc. Nobody gives a flying, and this is what happens.
Nature is taking it back.
But even in terms of buying this now, it's almost impossible because nobody can agree. It's
Really?
Yeah, it's like dog in a manger, even though the manger's been trashed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very strange.
That is odd, isn't it? So what is the ultimate prognosis for that and many other properties like it in Portugal? Will the government have to step in at some point and say this is ridiculous?
Well, there's the two schemes. There's the government-owned properties, a lot of which are former government buildings that were actually used, or they're seizures in lieu of taxation or social security, whatever. So, as we know, there are tens of thousands of them. And the government, yes, we're making a list. Actually, the public made a list for them. But they still can't agree on the total. Financiers have one figure, government has another. But those are gradually being dripped onto the market. Things like this, because it's owned by the church, run by the freguesia.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's Santa Casa Misericordia. They're not bothered. They've got loads of money. Yeah. And it's a shame because
it is a shame.
It's definitely part of the history of the village.
Yeah.
And the freguesia want to make it into a tourism centre or something. Well, it's right on the edge of town, so that won't work.
Right.
So I think they should sell it to a sensitive developer with certain restrictions.
Yes, they then might fund a tourism centre in the middle of town.
Well, it could be a logimento locale, the old hospital. It's not beyond the wit of man to repurpose things like that. But for as long as they're not for sale, nothing's going to happen. And they just tourists come and say, why does Portugal let its old buildings fall down?
Exactly. That's a YouTube channel. Oh no, it already is. Yeah.
And they're quite right. Yes. And it takes private equity. There's George, private money, us, private money, the Americans, private money. That's three substantial buildings on one small square.
Yeah.
Of people who put their money where their mouth is.
Yes.
And the funds are available, but if you can't access nice old buildings because of bizarre either inheritance laws or people really not wanting to sell because they don't have to. It's not banging on the church's door saying you must sell this or the poor will starve.
Yeah.
It's a tricky.
It is it's a pretty pass, isn't it? As we might say, of a certain age. It really is a pretty pass. It's a deadlock, isn't it? That it's not helpful.
No, it's frustrating, and the politicians bang on when pushed about there needs to be more housing for the poor and all that. It's so easy to resolve, and they just don't bother doing it. And so it's down to private capital with some state intervention. This housing crisis that we keep hearing about, would be pretty easily resolved. But it is the thousands of buildings that are locked in a sort of time safe.
Yes.
That would find willing buyers and willing developers and sensitive developers. But no, they just sit there through another winter and more stones fall off. And
it's a real conundrum, isn't it? And when I think 2 years ago, the thing you were talking about, the housing crisis and the initiative Mais Habitação, they said, we're going to take properties off errant landlords, only to discover that they were the most errant landlords themselves, right, and had the most empty properties that they might release onto the market.
Yeah, I know that it's been a political farce. And there's no real intent to house the poor, even though it's constitutionally, it's in the constitution that everyone will be housed. It's quite funny that they're bitching yesterday in the press that of all the council houses, which there aren't that many, 2,500 are in arrears and are being evicted or have been evicted. And what is the point?
Right.
What is the point? Winter time, kicking people out onto the streets.
That is bizarre, isn't it? To make another more expensive problem on the streets of the cities.
And the new minister yesterday, apart from saying, "Oh, we've only been here 6 months," they're saying, "Yeah, but we're increasing the number of shelters." I mean,
bizarre.
You and I could run this, Carl. I tell you.
Even you and I.
Even you and I. It's a two-pipe problem, but come the dawn, we would have resolved key parts of the housing crisis.
Yes, we could be so pleased with ourselves, couldn't we? And what do you? I mean, the other thing in this mix now is the new law about building on rustic land. What do you make of that?
It'll be misused and abused as ever.
Oh,
but it's got to be positive as long as the rustic land is sensibly chosen, put it that way. I think there's enough brownfield sites in every freguesia and council area that are unused. I mean, even Pedrógão Grande, there's industrial areas, there's a huge old tile factory that is filled with birds and old bats that you could probably get 40 houses on it. So why release that? You know, it's got a concrete floor anyway. You know,
these could be very exciting public housing developments, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could be, and it is a question of the planning process. The planning at the moment, we're halfway between Simplex that started earlier this year and the old system. We're in a sort of grey zone at the moment. So anything that hints of pre-March this year comes under the old rules in terms of the specialities and stuff. People are getting tripped up on, oh yes, well we've had this, but we want to know your flood defences, or the wiring plan needs doing. This is on retrospective applications for swimming pools.
Right.
So the cameras, because they're losing a lot of power basically with the Simplex scheme for planning permission.
Right.
One seems to have decided to be as difficult as possible during this grey interim period. And I've had loads of email. I had an email yesterday about legalising a pool house that was built in 1979 in Cascais, and they're going to refuse it. You know, having spent the foreign British buyer having bought the place, doing the right thing to register the pool house and the pool, they're now saying no, it's completely illegal. And you think, just get on with it. You know, it's only a bit of paper.
That is not helpful, is it?
No, it's not. So Portugal, it shoots itself in the foot.
Doesn't it just?
On planning. And that's why it all relates down to building homes, I wouldn't say for the poor, but lower cost homes. The reason there are no builders building lower cost homes is taxation, time delay. There's no money in it.
Yeah.
So it has to be subsidised in part by the government.
Yes.
But you look at the insane level of taxation on building. I'm surprised anyone does it. So any builder with a bit of land will build the most luxurious property they possibly can.
Yes. To maximise return.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
it's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah, all the EVA, you're paying 23% on your building materials, aren't you? It is prohibitive and unimaginative. Absolutely. Yeah,
or 6% in historic areas, which is what I'm sticking to now.
Very good. That's a wise move. And the shame is, it's all the pieces are there, aren't they, for a very happy picture, but they're not being joined up, are they?
Yeah, and there's enormous goodwill, and there's intent. Yes. And there's foreign money. I talk to investors, I talk to funds, I talk to big business investors about the market and what can they do, how can they get involved, and they go away and do their due diligence research by Google and by talking to other people, talking to business owners in Lisbon and Porto, and they come back and regret that until the system speed themselves up.
Yes.
Why would anybody invest in major projects?
So that's sad. It's very sad to hear that. Funnily enough, I was watching a panel discussion of 3 almighty investors who are getting back into investing in London, and it really surprised me. I grew up in London, and there they are. They were sat on a plush sofa at one of these, sort of conference webinars, talking about their plans in London. And they were talking about, politics being a blip, really. It's just an outburst in the grand scheme of things, because they take a much longer view than the political cycles. Yeah. Where do you think we are then in Portugal? Are we sort of just witnessing a bit of a political blip, and the big investors, the people who could really make a difference, are just biding their time and waiting to step in? Where are we in that grander cycle?
No, I mean, I paint a gloomy picture. There are big investors. You've got to look at the comporters of this world, the big, it's mostly tourism based and luxury end, but you look at areas of Lisbon that have been built up.
Yes.
They're being developed, but you look at the timelines and they're 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So
Yes.
the people that have got a longer term cycle, but big, butch, well-funded property businesses are making good money. They're just weathering it, but there seems no political will to speed things up. And some argue that's a good thing. Otherwise, we'd end up like Spain. So it's
Yes. Well, yeah. You always have to look at it from a number of angles, don't you? And I think that's true as well, isn't it? That is a fair point.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think the frustration, though, is the people that want to move here and make a new life here. They are suffering in the insanity of local authority interference.
Yes.
And just delay. If you want to buy a building and put in central heating and put a little extension out the back, it shouldn't take you 4 years to get
correct. Yeah, that's not helpful. That's just a bit of sort of local politics power mongering, isn't it? That's really unhelpful to regular people.
No, you're
absolutely right. We've got a few more minutes together, and I'd love to show the pictures. If you could get in a more shady position, you seem to have a bit of a wind problem at the moment, Paul. So God forbid. Let's have a look at a still of Casa Adelina. It's an absolutely beautiful and not imposing, but you know it's there, don't you? It is a vital part of the local scene, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah, it's early 1800s, I think, the main building. But the one section may be slightly older, but it's a solid old girl. Yeah.
Right, and it looks like you can drive a BMW down the lane next door, which
apparently,
which is very terrifying, I think, for a lot of people who are new to the country. But someone's done it there. It is possible, and hopefully, it's not one of those lanes that gets narrower and narrower the further you drive down it, which is a truly terrifying experience here in Portugal. There's the overhead view, and you can see it, can't you? You can see it's yellow angles right there on the corner.
And the terrace at the top.
And your terrace. You described it as the gin and tonic terrace there, didn't you? I'm thinking of grilling fish up there and a Sunday cafetiere of coffee while the church bells are ringing. Absolutely central location. Absolutely wonderful there. And a bit of detail from inside. Beautiful floors. I was trying to figure out, is that like an oak or a pine that you've got there?
It's a hard pine.
A hard pine. Very pale, isn't it? Very nice.
Yeah, it's yet to be sanded and stained. When they finish running around and fixing stuff, then the last thing is to sand it and stain it and walk away for a couple of days to let everything.
Love it. Really, really looking good. Another detail from inside. Yeah,
then the floors will match the doors and windows. One shade lighter, but it'll be extremely tasteful inside, and it's cheaper to buy than a new house.
Yes, well, we haven't said what it's going to be on the market for. Would you like to share that info with us?
Yeah, it's 275,000. That works out about 1,400 a metre, which in this day and age you couldn't build it for less than 2,000. So
fantastic.
It's effectively a new house. It's central heating and new roof and fully insulated, etc., etc.
And some proper history right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's for I would say a second home or a full-time home for somebody. There's no garden with it, but a really nice terrace. So which suits many people, especially if it's second home or holiday home.
You quite right.
Worry about pool maintenance and just doing the mowing.
Correct. Yes, you can just put a pot plant up there, can't you, on the balcony there, and that will be your garden or window box.
And I intend to. I have the pot. Yeah.
Do you really? Oh, you and your pots. You've talked to us about your terracotta pots and clay pots before, I believe.
Well, one of our investors, Adam, is extremely keen on doing up old pots that I sort of pick up from places that we buy, and we've got getting a collection together now. Actually.
Okay, all right. So it's a signature of rural properties, the plant pots.
The nicely redone. Still slightly distressed, but redone.
Of course, like all of us.
Indeed.
Still slightly distressed, but showing a hell of a lot of character at the same time. One more thing, then. I'll give everybody the link to your website, which is rural-properties. And this thing about Senor Jello, you run a tight ship with his help. You've got this delivered on time by the sound of it, which goes against the grain here, doesn't it? To use a construction pun.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment we've got 7 properties we're working on, so it is a question of it's not who shouts loudest, but it's quite a skill to trying to develop them all in parallel.
Yes.
Then if we get a buyer, we got a buyer for a big property in Pedrógão Grande. Resources must flip to that to get that finished. It's about a 12-week finish, so it is a constantly shifting game of labour, and labour's not a problem. It's just having it in the right place at the right time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a game of 3D chess. Not everything I do is on time. Some things are quicker, some are slower.
No, fair enough.
Adelina's taken its time, but I think has benefited from it. And in a rising market, as time goes on, the price goes up anyway. So from a financial point of view, it's not a bad.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Lovely to see you. Thank you. I will put that together as a little clip and stitch those two bits together, because you've shared some very interesting information with us there and showed us a beautiful property. Also, thanks coming in from Paul Richards, yours and mine favourite Yorkshireman, Paul Richards, for his help in a property in Luzerne. Ongoing, he says, with a little bit of a nod there. So maybe see you in Beral country sometime soon, Paul Richards. Cheers, Paul. Thank you so much. Have a great day in Central Portugal.
Yeah, and you. Thanks, Carl.
All right. Ciao, ciao. See you. Bye for now. While our back was turned there, hundreds of comments coming in and true stories like what a beautiful property, and questions from Linda, the OLP, as well. So we'll make our way through those as we chat with Heather Binder now. The theme now, and I've started writing a little song. First Christmas in Portugal, I think, is a great theme here. We'll talk to Heather about what's going on in the world of boots on the ground Portugal, and comparing and contrasting American. I can chip in with a bit of UK Christmas coverage, not that I've been there for quite some time now, and see what you're up against if you're going to be spending your first hit Christmas here in Portugal. It's like, instead of Last Christmas, the great Christmas song, it's First Christmas. So like, first Christmas, I gave you my heart. No, I gave you some bacalhau, and the very next day you gave it away, etc., etc. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Serenading you onto the screen. Did you like my rendition of First Christmas there?
I did, except for it's more like bacalhau and then bacalhau and then bacalhau, rather than, the Portuguese way.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it, at Christmas time?
Well, it's funny because it's like, what's your special meal for Christmas? And it's like bacalhau, and it's like, okay, isn't that kind of an every all the time thing?
No, Heather, because it's done differently for Christmas.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I've got a picture somewhere, and I took it. I took a screenshot of the Christmas bacalhau recipe or combo, specifically for Pete Bleach, who loves that sort of thing. I can't find it now, but it's with the eggs. It's with the potatoes and with the boiled eggs at Christmas.
Oh, okay. I do kind of like that one, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm Jewish, so what do I know about Christmas?
You can't just suddenly say that as a way of getting out of eating bacalhau. I don't think that's on the list, is it? It's not on the list, Heather.
The way I like my bacalhau is fried with chips. That's called fish and chips.
That's the officially kosher version, is it?
Yeah. There you go. Okay, no, I don't think kosher. That's for sure. No, I do. I like bacalhau con natas, the potatoes and kind of cream one. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that one. There's a couple others that are okay. So yeah, that's good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Pete is here this morning. Has Paul been to the Accordion Museum? We didn't get a chance to ask him that. That property is absolutely beautiful. Do grocery stores do car rentals? You can answer all these cultural questions. You help people move to Portugal. What happens at grocery stores? You can buy wine in flagons usually, but not
a lot. Yeah, a lot of things happen at grocery stores, but I haven't seen car rentals.
Me neither.
I haven't seen that. But there's just a lot of combination stores where they have like the phone store and like there's a dentist sometimes, of
magazines,
course, optical.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your, like super Walmart in a way. Some of them have bikes, all that kind of toys, all that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of things happen. And then like Continent has Zoo, which is like the kind of higher end pet food stuff. Little dog food, cat food, that sort of thing, connected and part of the bigger store. So yeah, you can do quite a bit, but I haven't seen car rental. She
probably means the little village grocery stores, and all sorts goes on there. You can buy a magazine, cigarettes, a lottery card, scratch card, the Rashpadinha. If you're looking at car rental, we've got a deal with B Rent, Linda, and we can get you 10% off there. You've got to put a code in, and I think it's GMP. So just get in touch with me if you want to know about that and get a discount as a gumper. Bakuliao, there we go. We get it sounds like a Mongolian speciality when you put it like that. James, thank you very much. And it is said, says James, that there are over 1,000 recipes for bacalhau in Portugal. So yes, it's a special one for Christmas as well, and hopefully we'll be able to get to that before we conclude today. Even a picture possibly with the boiled eggs and with the potatoes. Before we go more into what people can expect then for their first Christmas here in Portugal, Heather, what's going on at Boots in the Ground Portugal? What have you been up to?
Every October-ish, they like to throw out some sort of thing to make my life, extra fun. So this year was like the remote bank account opening. Some of the bank stuff is changing. Some of the income requirements for certain bank accounts. Just some irritating things like that. And then they also started requiring apostilles on the FBI and the marriage certificates and the birth certificates. Well, birth certificates always, they wanted that for kids and stuff. But just more regulations, more stringent with zero notice, typical. So it's funny. If I see one more post of somebody asked for assistance, they're like, who should I go to? And then there's 8 million people that will comment about how you don't need help and they did it themselves. Only I know my clients' names.
Yep.
And some of those people I've literally consulted with and helped. Really? So I find it kind of hilarious when I'm reading a post this morning like that. And it's like, okay, sure, you did that 100% by yourself. Sure you did.
I can't wait to hear what happens next time you speak to them on the phone.
No, I those aren't people I speak to on a regular basis. My actual real clients that, full on work with me leave us amazing reviews, in fact. So that's great. But no, I just think it's funny because you can do it yourself if you want that risk and that stress and you want to deal with confusing and contradicting information that is not up to date. Also, they stopped issuing NISs, which is social security numbers, unless you're working. And there's tons of people saying, just get your NIS and go down and get your health number. And you can't, that doesn't work like that anymore. Just misinformation. I should just stay off Facebook, but
you really should.
That's where all our clients refer us, and we get, that's where we get business. So it's kind of hard to completely ignore it, but I would like to completely ignore it.
You know what? It is like the version of the medieval marketplace, isn't it? Can you imagine what it must have been like to go into a medieval marketplace? It might have been behind a drawbridge or a portcullis. First of all, you've got to get into the town. With that, I guess the equivalent of that now is logging in, which is a whole lot more easy, isn't it, than being pushed into the moat. So you log in as long as you can remember your details and you pass security. You are now in the inner sanctum of the medieval marketplace. The noises are there, the smells are there. There are people you want to speak to. There are people who you definitely don't want to speak to. There are people hassling you. It's the modern version of that, isn't it?
Yes.
The ups and downs of entering the marketplace, basically, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home, and you can be angry from the comfort of your own home. Whereas in the old days, you don't have to be angry in a public place, which could have led to some very awkward consequences, I suspect.
There's flogging happening. There's, all the things happening. You're right.
Yes. And
so
as for the medieval, as for the medieval scenario, probably also flogging. Right? Okay.
No, I mean, Facebook, you see it. You see it. God forbid you
post public flogging,
actual opinion, or even not an opinion, but a query as to what do you think of this versus this.
Yep.
then you get called all sorts of.
Well,
You
it
know.
just sounds racist already, basically, Heather. Okay.
Correct. I've
yes.
been called that. Yeah, I've been called all the things.
I bet. But it's lucky you and I are such uncontroversial characters who would never dare put anything difficult on Facebook, right? So we've at least got that.
You gotta always challenge, question, verify. You know, that's just the world we live in more so than now than ever.
Yes.
And so yeah, absolutely. It's a bizarre world, that's for sure.
Yay! Here's to the bizarre world. Hey, Carl, and I'm going to extend this to you, of course, as well as the professional helper here. Heather, do housing developments have housing homeowners association fees?
HOAs, I saw
when
that.
they have shared pools and such. They do, don't they?
They do. I don't know that all of them do. They should, because you're going to have shared expenses there. I would be wary of any, honestly, that don't, because what happens when the pool needs refinishing or you know, this or that goes out. Now you've got X amount of people that don't have any fund and don't have anything organized. So I'd be more wary of one that doesn't have that. Yes. But I also don't like homeowners associations.
No, good advice. Well, here in Portugal, there will be a meeting that will start, probably advertised to start at 7. It will actually start. It'll actually start at 8, won't it? Well, by the time everyone's got there, and it could go on till past midnight. In Portuguese, obviously, and as a foreigner, you would struggle, and you might want to designate somebody to go on your behalf to take care of those things. And such services are available. Yes, that's definitely a thing here, Linda. I think the costs. I don't think the cost is the worst part of it, is it?
No, they're like almost stupid. They're like €25. You're like, really? But again, that makes me a little concerned because the you know, that's good, but it's also like I can just see that being a bit of a nightmare. But of course, my background's real estate, and I have owned a property in it. I've owned 2 properties in HOAs before, but I didn't live in either of them. They were rental properties, and I'm definitely not a fan. But I think you know if you're an HOA person or not. But that's hard because you know at some point in life maybe you want to go to the that sort of lifestyle, and then it's maybe a little bit of a reframing to get yourself there. Swings
and roundabouts, right? I guess you've got to have some good upsides compared to the possible downsides of living in such a way. Well, wherever you live, and it sounds like you and I are favouring detached property miles from anywhere and anyone later on in life.
I mean, I have neighbors, but I'm definitely in the country in a little village. 10 minutes outside of town. And I think that that's amazing. And I'm so glad that I'm not in town. More so as time goes on and town grows. So that's my thing, but you need a car. So, there's that. Technically I live across the street from a bus stop, but that wouldn't give you a whole lot of opportunity. It comes, but good luck figuring out when, and then it's not crazy often. So
very good. Okay, and the other question I think from OLP there, are they expensive? I'm not sure if that's referring to Bacalhau car rentals or HOA fees. Probably cheaper on all those accounts.
Expensive. I think they're talking HOA, and it would be cheaper for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Heather. A few more questions and comments coming in. Very nice indeed. I want to live in nature. That's why I'm looking at the villages, but of land or a ruin might be the way for me. There, says Jackie. We've dealt with your question there, Linda. Any more? Send them our way. Pete reckons no designated parking will put most people off that property. It's not flipping Knightsbridge, Pete. There were spaces there in the town square. Good morning, everyone. Season's greetings to all from Dougie. Good morning, Doug. And Chase, we'll get you on again next week, I hope, with your happy hectares. You've got another report for us. Looking forward to chatting with you again, Chase. Beautiful house. It's in such a growing town too, Pedrogo Pequeno. Great place. Love that Sunday market there, the farmers market. And Pete offering a bit of advice to Jackie. That's nice to see. You wouldn't get rentals with no pie. Thank you, Pete. Bon dia, Filomena. Filomena's also here this morning with a Bon dia Alegria.
Nice.
Are you still in your Soros, Filomena? Thank you for joining us this morning. And Doug responding to my song. Very next day, I gave it away. I'm definitely giving my bacalhau away. Bacalhau. Stop it, Douglas. He's only saying that. He's only saying that because he's safely in Wales. And that, Dougie, is because you've never tasted good bacalhau. And she's right. She's taken me to one of the best bacalhau restaurants in Portugal, which is in Coimbra, where you can choose the cut of the bacalhau, where you have a bit of rump.
Oh.
You know, it's as sophisticated as that. When you know what you're doing, you choose the part of the fish that your cod steak comes from, basically. And I know, if I remember rightly, Philomena, you like the tail, the rump, if you like, of the bacalhau there. Would you like to come to my house? There you go, Doug. You can write about that in the Portugal News and stop moaning about bacalhau.
How about salmon? Can I get the salmon cut?
Probably. On that note, I mean, salmon's a strange old fish because so much of it is farmed. It's a lovely fish, but that really pale farmed stuff is pretty grim, isn't it? You want to be getting something out the freezer, probably.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of sushi because that's how I roll.
So am I now. That's how I California roll.
I'm thinking of lox or sushi. So smoked salmon or sushi. Yes. Although it's delicious also grilled and in my air fryer is actually where I cook my salmon when I cook it. Yeah, it's great.
Okay. All right. UNICEF was created today in 1946. Thank you very much for that factoid there, Antonio F. And, El nunca. Yeah, a comer bacalhau de Carlitos, com certeza. So what's that? You'll never eat bacalhau made by me, or I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, Mr. S, but come, bring your bacalhau and let's eat together. Let's break bacalhau together. Speaking of bacalhau comparisons, we do also love our turkey for the holidays, but we certainly do not have it every day and as the main dish in every single restaurant everywhere. That's a really good point, isn't it?
Good to know.
I know. Which could bring us towards our conversation about our first Christmas here in Portugal.
Yeah.
And I saw a comedy clip, Heather, just before the show this morning. It's the royal family, and they are the ROYLE royal family, like a working class family in the north of England. It's hilarious stuff. And they're all sat completely stuffed after their Christmas lunch. And the mum says, "Did you like the turkey?" And the dad says, "Oh, it was a bit dry for me. It was a bit dry for me, Barb. What about you, Mum?" No, I've never liked turkey. Never liked it. And then go around the kids. No, I don't like turkey. And then Dave says, no, not really. Not really.
So none of them like it.
Take it or leave it. I can take it or leave it, right?
Yeah.
We did. She's looking at them going, all right, well then let's not have turkey next year. And they're like, oh, no, you've got to have turkey.
That's good. That's good.
It really is. It really is a fantastic twist in the tale there. So would that be yours? Is that your traditional meat at Christmas time? No, not turkey.
No, I like ham, and we got a nice little kind of spiral cut little ham that fit right in the Instant Pot, and I made a honey glaze, and that was quite nice. And then, I prefer that. I don't know, turkey. Because I guess I don't like dark meat, and that's what my husband says actually is the most flavor, but whatever. Yeah. And there's no way I'm cooking anything like that because I'm weird about cooking.
Okay. Does Dougie eat anything? Sushi now as well. What's the matter?
Bring it on. Bring all the sushi this way. It's all good.
As an adventurous traveler.
There is sushi in Portugal. Lots and lots of sushi for all those people wondering.
Definitely. So it's never been, a lot of it has never been anywhere near anyone Japanese, to be fair, though, has it? You go to those.
I would say the chefs are always Asian. I don't know specifically, but.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Nepalese often. And I'm not saying they don't make good sushi.
No, I've had wait staff that's Nepalese, but I think the actual sushi chefs, from what I can see, at least the ones I frequent, I don't want to assume that they're Japanese, but that would make sense.
They know what they're doing in Leclerc, which I'm sure you've been to.
Yeah.
Do you not like it in there? Do you not like their sushi in there?
Their sushi's really expensive.
Very good.
It's okay, but I'm just not as much of a fan of that. The Mercadona sushi I think is better if you're going to go grocery store.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We
go to
Mishi
Mishi. Do you go to Mishi? We should meet up and do that.
Michi Michi. Okay. And this is not helping with our first Christmas in Portugal.
Okay, so let me talk about that.
Got it.
Okay, so a couple of things I think are interesting here is that people don't tend to focus on decorating their house.
Really?
Yeah, not hardly.
Actually, you're
I mean,
right.
compared to the
US,
the US is like
yes.
insane. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying Portuguese don't decorate their house, but not to the extent. Okay. Whereas, like in the US, you just have like streets of houses, all lit up. You can go on tours like that, But what they do is the cities do amazing lighting, amazing productions, just really, really cool. And so that's what I think is really neat is that each city and, from small cities to big, has really beautiful, amazing coordinated lights for Boas Festas, for the holidays.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's nice. And so that's different. I would say it's definitely different. And then I also think that the focus is different, whereas it seems like the focus is more on Christmas Eve. Here in Portugal for the Portuguese and midnight mass. And so they'll eat their meal typically later than Americans would, at least. And probably 9 o'clock or something like that is not crazy to spend a couple hours eating at that time and then go to midnight mass. Not that wouldn't happen in the US, but I haven't seen that myself or heard that. And I've never been with Jewish partners. So I've always had like Christmas since I was an adult, but just, like incorporated into other people's families, basically. Right. My significant others. So I have experienced it, but I have no Christmas tree skills whatsoever.
And you've got animals and pets. It could be a bit awkward with a parrot and a cat, I'm guessing, with a Christmas
parrot,
tree.
cat, pugs, yes.
Yes.
My cat is so good. He doesn't mess with stuff. So he's actually really good. And so are the dogs and the bird. As long as I, keep her away from my remote controls, I'm okay.
Remote controls?
She likes to eat my Fire Stick remote controls. Yes.
Of course. Okay. Let's not digress because it can so easily happen with us, evidently, Heather. So not so much of the decorating of the outside of the house, an American tradition. And I in one of the streets locally where I walk my dogs around here, they are going at it. There's a competition. And I said to my British friend, are you not taking part in decorating your house? No, I'm not. He's like, it's other Europeans from outside Portugal that have really gone to town. And I've even drove my kids there the other night to look at the lights outside.
Oh, nice.
House.
Honestly, I miss that because I actually like when you have those houses that are just completely lit up, and I think that's cool. So, yes. But I do also really love the towns being lit up. So that's
very, very important. Caldas is amazing at the moment, as are many other cities.
Actually, the grocery store. So last night we walk out of Aldi, and there's E. Leclerc. We're looking at E. Leclerc, which is a French grocery store, and it's gorgeous. It's like purple and blue, and it was so pretty. And I was like, that is like amazing for a grocery store to go to that cost and the extent to make it that pretty for the holiday. It was nice. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, and then Christmas Eve is more important than Christmas Day, and not a long layoff. So there'll be a very important Christmas Eve festivity, and people will be off for Christmas Day. But they're likely to go back to work in the intervening period, aren't they? There's no Boxing Day specifically here in Portugal, is there?
I don't know about that because that's not a US thing.
Oh, really? Not in the US either. Right. Okay.
Not that I've ever heard. No.
Oh, interesting.
I've heard that, but I don't even really know what that is.
Okay.
But I do have So in the US, it's Christmas Day is more of the focus. Christmas Eve, it tends to be more either with friends or with smaller group, and then you might do Christmas Day with like the bigger family. Of course, every family does things differently. Yes. But and then Jews, we do the best thing of all, which is we do Chinese food and movies.
The traditional Jewish Chinese food. Is that what you said?
Chinese food and movies is Christmas Day. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Any particular movie classics that you would be watching?
I saw Titanic at the last showing of an iconic theater
Very
that way
festive.
back when Titanic was out. Yeah.
Out to the you go out to the movies, not
Oh,
a
yeah,
movie.
you go out. You go out
on
to
Christmas
the movies.
Day. Right, okay.
Yes.
Right. So they're open.
Well, I mean, I'm talking old school at least, you know,
Yeah,
before
okay.
movies got, you know, I won't say it, but you know, yeah.
I think we know. Okay, I thought you meant before movies were consumed mainly at home. Anything else with the comparison then? One final thing, US versus Portugal. I'll chip in with UK. Anything else people should know for their first one? Are they going to be able to? Are they going to go to the sales? Are they going to find places shut? What's going to be happening?
That's the thing, and this is actually about Thanksgiving, but I find it hilarious that there is a thing such as Black Friday.
Yes.
So, but it's like they start at the beginning of November almost. Yes. So like, but it's weird because Black Friday is always, as an American at least, it's the day after Thanksgiving is Black Friday, and so that's funny that it's like this international thing. Literally, it's like Amazon Germany, Amazon Spain, like, you know, so everybody has taken that moniker, Black whatever, and use that to have sales and of course, because it's commercialized. So that's the only other thing. It just seems more commercialized in the US, which makes sense because Portugal is more about family and things like that, and less about stuff. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Lots of lovely comments coming in. It's 1 minute past 10. Let's not keep you much longer. I just want to celebrate the fact that Bob and Viv have been here for 3 years now. OLP.
Hi, Bob and Viv.
Hi, Bob and Viv. How are you liking Portugal? How long have you lived there now? Exactly, almost 3 years. Do Portuguese celebrate Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? I think you've covered that. It's important. The Christmas Eve is very important, but that's not to say they won't be having some fun on Christmas Day as well. Sure. Growing up in Oregon, we had the most delicious fresh ocean salmon, shrimp, cod, and halibut. Oh, very nice. You can get that here. And I saw a map yesterday, the predominant meat of the countries of Europe and fish. It was much more about the fish here than in many other countries in Europe. Exorcismo. I'm not sure what that's about. We don't do that on Christmas Day or any time over the Christmas period, unless it's absolutely necessary. And OLP, you wanted Heather's website address to find out how much, what she does and how much she charges for it. So there you go. I'll send that to you as well. And the Vincent Price Tribe. Coach Turner, who's God's Squad tip of the day will do now, likes his salmon over vegetables, which is something that Bob and Viv do as well, apparently. Quick God's Squad tip of the day, then before we open the advent calendar window for today. You can do that for us, Heather. You can press the magic button. God's Squad tip of the day, on all fours. What? Take one hand and pass it under your torso. This sounds like a group activity. And behind the other arm. Go as far as you can and hold for 20 to 30 seconds. Repeat with the other hand. Don't fall forward and break your nose. Many athletes use this as part of their warm-up, though for them, the movement is continuous. Try doing this 3 or 4 times a week to gradually loosen your shoulders and upper back. We'll do that straight after the show this morning. That sounds great. Thank you.
Broke my brain, but hey.
Yeah, I think some of these we definitely need videos for us. But thank you, Coach. Bit of stretching is lovely when you feel those endorphins moving as a result. It's not Twister. No, that has been the naked Twister thing that I saw on Portuguese TV. It has nearly got me into a lot of trouble. So least said about that, the better. Turkey and Thanksgiving and ham for Christmas was our family tradition. Thank you very much. Happy memories there. And there is a festa every day. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, of course. There'll be somewhere where you can party. And if you can sell out of everything in the US, calling it Black Friday, let's call it Black Friday for an entire month.
Yep. That's what they do. They do it here too. So,
on a positive and festive note, then let's add our next window to the Advent calendar. We're doing memes this year. We had the Berry Santa experience. Don't worry. Berry is a place, not something that you should be doing to Santa to vent your anti-commercial feelings. So it's 11th today. If I refresh the website, we'll go to a new one. So let me actually, if you press your microphone, that will refresh the website. So you press the top of your microphone.
Here?
Let's do it now. There you go. Thank you very much. And oh no, Don't do that. I nearly
I
refreshed.
had to. I would have muted myself.
No. I was talking to myself there. I nearly refreshed
okay.
the page that we're on, which would have been a disaster like it was.
I got to keep the light show going. So
right, there we go.
I can't see. I have to do this now.
All right, I will read it out for you. Day 11, the window today. I think this one's from T Duck as well. Send them in on 913-590-303. Dear Diary, my kids say, I shouldn't have done this one today with Heather being here. Dear Diary, my kids say they want a cat for Christmas. Normally I do a turkey, but if it'll make them happy. Okay, only kidding. Please don't feed cat to anybody this Christmas. Unless you're in Ohio, right? Anyway, no, that also was a joke. Okay, Heather, thank you so much.
I'm just not going to comment.
Don't go there.
All I can do is get myself in trouble, you know?
All right, have a great day. And actually,
You too.
I think we probably will see you because you're a regular visitor. I hope we will see you before Christmas. Have a great day, and all of you.
Hopefully.
And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now. Nice big round of applause for Heather there, and let's go out with the theme.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.